I've been building my startup for about 7 to 8 months now, and these are the lessons that I've learned. Hi, it's Ben Kim, a random college student who wants to become a millionaire before he turns 30, and I'm currently building a social media app as my startup. Even though I can't really disclose too much information about my startup, I do tell my friends or the investors as it aims to be the most helpful social media that it actually makes people happier. And currently, I'm the only one in my team as I don't have any co-founders. And the funny thing is, I didn't know anything about coding, so when I came to college, I thought, hey, I'll just find a co-founder and let him code, but that didn't really happen. So I just decided, hey, I'll just learn how to code by myself. And that goes to lesson number 1, which is coding is harder than I thought. See, as a student who's majoring in business and minoring in real estate and entrepreneurship, I've never had experience to properly learn coding. So about a year ago, I was researching about what framework I should use to code an app, and I just decided to use .NET MAUI. And even though I knew that it was going to be hard, I was like, how hard can it possibly be? It's just a simple social media app. And in fact, it was not just a simple social media app. It was way harder than I thought. See, the app isn't just like a weather forecasting app or a calculator app. It's a social media app where you need to put focus on the front end, the back end, the algorithm, how you will interact between users, how you will store those data, and how you will scale your project, etc. And back then, I didn't know any of those, and I just thought, I'll just ask ChatGPT, because this was when ChatGPT was released, and I would admit that if ChatGPT didn't exist, I would not be building this startup right now. Basically, I asked ChatGPT, I'm going to do this, so give me step-by-step guide how to build a social media app, and it taught me how to do it, and I'm still learning as I'm coding the app, which is a pretty bad approach. This social media app is text-centric, meaning there's going to be relatively more text than images or videos, so I thought, hey, this is a good start. At least I think I can build it. But even though there are more text, there are just so many things I had to consider, and I can't describe the amount of times I've been so stressed out that I've been banging my head to that wall. Sometimes it was so concerning that my friends on the other room came in and was like, you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. So from this lesson, as a student who've never learned coding before, even though ChatGPT taught me how to code so much, there are limitations, and I'm still struggling a lot. If you as a viewer who wants to be an entrepreneur and have an idea that is technology related, I would recommend to either be really good at learning the technology or spend your energy and time to find the co-founder who has expertise in that area. The second lesson that I've learned from this journey is unless you have a co-founder, it is lonely. Now, like I said, I've never had a co-founder in my life. I have the mindset where I really need to know everything and I have to do everything. For example, if you're building an app and your co-founder can code an app and you can't, and if that co-founder left, you can't do anything. You have to find a different co-founder who can build your app, but then you have to spend the time, energy, and money to find them. And that is why I thought maybe I should just figure out how to do everything by myself. And for the first maybe a month or two, it's fine, it's exciting. You're building nothing to something. But 3 months passed, 4 months passed, 5 months passed, half a year passed, and you still didn't build the startup yet. It's just so lonely. Another example I can give you is that no one in my college knows how to use .NET MAUI. So when I experience technical difficulties, I don't have anyone to ask for help. So usually what happens is that when I look at the code and there's an error and I can't figure out, there's no miracle that's happening. Like, I'm spending days and days trying to figure out what the error is, what's causing the error, and how I can fix that. And the amount of times I've been stuck with one problem, and not only that, but how long it took me to solve that error, really drives me crazy. Now, the third lesson that I've learned so far is that failure is inevitable. In some of my videos, I talked about how I'm guaranteed to succeed. So when I say failure this time, I'm not talking about failure as myself, but failure as I didn't get into competition or not a lot of people like my idea. And what I mean by this is that my freshman year, when I first came into this college and I presented my idea, I failed every single competition I applied for. And you might say, like, did you apply to 1 or 2 competitions? Like, no, I applied to probably like 15 competitions. I didn't get a single one of them. And at that point, I was thinking, maybe I'm not built to be an entrepreneur. Why do people hate my idea? And of course, I've seen a lot of videos that, yes, there's going to be so many times you won't get into competitions, you won't get funding, but don't give up, which is what I did. But maybe I expected I could have got in 1 of the 5 competitions I applied to, not literally 0 out of all the competition I applied. But from this lesson, it really taught me resilience. Like, okay, I'm gonna apply it next year again. And today when I'm filming this video is February 25th, and I've got into one competition. This is my first competition in my life, and I feel so thankful for those who picked me, and I feel very nervous as well. But what I really wanted to say from this lesson is that yes, failure is inevitable, but at some point you will succeed. Now, the fourth lesson that I've learned is kind of related to myself as a college student, which is time management. I'm a full-time student. I take about 15 credits per semester. I'm also an executive board member of some of the clubs. I run a comedy podcast with my roommates. I do YouTube. I code for my startup. I network. I sometimes go on a date. Like, I have so many things to do. And the thing that I want to say is know your limit. For me specifically, I like to do everything. I like to be involved in a club. I like to do a comedy podcast with my roommates. I like to code for my startup, or actually I don't really like to code, but I like my startup and I like my friends in my classes. But at some point, when I keep adding these stuff, I realized I can't do all of these. So what I've learned from this is that I gotta say no to some of the people or some of the activities. For example, I could have been an executive board member for 3 of the clubs, and I realized this is not going to happen. Like, I can't do all of these. So I had the audacity to go up to the president and the organization and say, I'm so sorry, but I can't take this offer. Same goes to some of my friends when it comes to hanging out. I can't really go hang out with my friends a lot because I have so many other things to do. And also what I've learned is that as I'm putting more energy and time on startups, my grades are starting to fall. When it comes to entrepreneurship or building your startup, know what you have to do and know what you have to say goodbye and figure out how you're going to make all of this happen. But anyways, the 5th lesson, which is the last lesson that I've learned, is that I still have so much to learn. If I tell you a little bit about my background, I started my first business during COVID. I built a temporary tattoo business called Ink and Tattoo. And I really built this from literally nothing to a business that's making money. And from that, I was like, I'm so ahead of the game. I'm an entrepreneur. I can do anything. And I had this mindset about like 2 weeks ago. Like, I've been coding this app for 7 to 8 months, and wow, I'm just so good at learning even though I'm using ChatGPT. I started from literally nothing to an almost full functioning app. So from this, I had so much pride in myself that my idea is great. I'm capable of everything. I don't really need people's help, but I was very ignorant. And I'm so glad that I had such a humble moment. And this happened like 2 weeks ago, where it was the first time that I was assigned to a mentor. And let me tell you, previously, I was like, of course they're more experienced than me, but I think I'll be just fine by myself as well. But once I talked to so far 2 mentors, it completely changed my entire perspective of startups. For example, I told you guys I'm in this one competition. The mentor that I met was dedicated to help me to win this competition. So in the first meeting I had, I was basically telling him who I am, why I am building this app, and why people will like it. And the mistakes that I've made is that this is just an entertainment app. It's not really a need-based business in a traditional sense. And we don't really have competitions. But the feedback that he gave me was like, even though this is a social media or entertainment-based company, you need to have a reason why the world need to use this app. Or it's very ignorant that I'm thinking there are no competitions. And he gave me an example like, do you know the competitor of Coca-Cola? And I was like, Pepsi? And he's like, no, it's fresh water. And I was thinking, that makes sense. So just the 1 hour meeting that I had with him changed almost half of the entire pitch deck that I had. And the second mentor I met impacted me significantly. He worked at Disney and Pixar. He sold his company to Microsoft. And I think he once said he did stand-up comedy. So he's a very talented guy in a lot of areas. And the most valuable thing that I've learned from him is the importance of storytelling. By the way, this guy, even in Disney or Pixar, he worked in a team to make jokes for the Cars, like the movie, The Cars. And he was also in a team where this other guy pitched the idea of movie up. So the mentor I met is really proficient in storytelling. And this is really what happened. I basically told him, yes, this is the app. It's really just for fun and blah, 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 right? And after he heard that, he gave me really harsh criticism, which I was like, wow, okay. And he gave me an example like how he would present my app to the audience. And he started talking about it for maybe like 10 or 20 seconds. And let me tell you something. When I first heard that 20-second pitch, I was thinking, if this guy took my idea and pitched like that, everyone would go for him and not me. And even myself as a founder, I was like, whoa, that was amazing. I got chills listening to that. Just the 2 mentors I met so far, I've learned storytelling is so important. I need to find a reason why the world needs to use my app, and I need to find the right competition. And just these small aspects really made me think I still have so much things to learn. Why did I think I was so good at everything? And that's about it. These are the 5 lessons that I've learned so far from my journey. Some might be pretty obvious to you guys, and I do want to say I'm not really here to teach you guys something. I'm just a student who wants to become a millionaire before I turn 30, and I just decided I'm going to build a startup. And some of you might criticize, don't build a startup for money, and I really don't have anything to say for that. Even though it might be a bit embarrassing, the first reason why I started building a startup is because of money. But now I really think there's something else that's building inside me. The entertainment, the fun that I'm having in this industry. Even the harsh criticism that I got from my mentor makes me feel like it's a fuel to my future. Like I feel like I can do something in this area. So thank you for listening. And if you guys learned something valuable as well, drop in the comments and I would love to hear from you guys. So I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.